better than your currency. Splurging millions, buying houses like Monopoly. Fucking 9 to 5, man, the money is a joke to me. Buying cryptocurrency, my money in the privacy. I make it rain dollars, they watch me disappear. I'm so fly, man, I'ma need some land again.
Hey guys and girls, welcome to this week's episode of the No.B.Invested Birchy podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Birch, and this is the show unraveling the truth to the facade of the 21st century. We're now exiting the matrix and waking up to motherfucking reality. Today, I have a new guest. We have Wayne.
Not a new one. A new one here.
Yeah, no one's heard me on here.
Yeah, no.
So there's
Facebook
people,
Live, yeah.
Facebook Live, right? But how many people call our office, Wayne, and say, oh yeah, I've been listening to Birchy on the podcast? Lots of people?
All the time.
Well, they call the office, they talk to us about that, but people are just watching us on this, but don't even know that there's Facebook, YouTube, doesn't know that I've been doing YouTube for 15 years, nothing like that. But someone commented on a post on someone's Facebook and goes, they sort of link and they go, fuck, there's Birch on mainstream media. I wouldn't expect him to be on mainstream media. And it's like, yes, I used to be on mainstream media. That's why I know it's all a lie and all a scam. But so people watching this and yeah, they haven't seen it. So it's the first time on the podcast. So yeah. So Wayne, maybe if you can tell the community who you are, a little bit about yourself, and what you do in the business.
I've been with B.Invested for just over 2 years, coming up 2.5 years.
There we go, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
There we go. It's been fun.
It's a record? No.
For you or for us?
For me? No.
Oh, really?
No. I tend to stick around for a little while.
Yeah, cool. We've had like a few people go over 10 years now here. Like it's, people are going in their 11th year shortly. So
yeah, really. Small property investor. I'm not. I don't have the multi-property portfolio yet, but
you're working on it.
Working on it for sure.
You're signing contract on another one now, and you're like, don't talk about my new property I'm buying, but thought I'd just throw it out there.
It's not done yet. So.
Yeah, we don't want to jinx it, but it's cheap as. So.
Yeah. But cool. So I come from a sales background, and I'm married, 2 teenage kids.
Okay, cool.
And different challenges every day with different age groups. So that's good. But I find I'm more free now that the kids are more independent. So Did you say one day that one of them was doing like work experience or something? Like was it? One works at McDonald's.
Oh, one works at McDonald's. That's right.
McDonald's.
Yeah. There we go. But, cool.
2 different kids. One takes after me more than. The wife, Now the one takes after my wife than me. So.
There you go. It's good. You got the balance.
It's good balance.
I've seen that a lot with people. Like one's more like one of the parent, one's like So
there you go.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that with us, Wayne. I guess you got kids. Like, do you have any hobbies that you share with the community?
I like watching sport.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favourite sport?
Probably league.
Okay.
Rugby league.
Okay.
So
Yeah, cool.
Sport, playing sport.
Okay.
Occasionally, yeah.
What's your favourite sport to play?
Well, at the moment, I'm playing basketball with my son.
Okay.
Just training and stuff. So he's really into the NBA.
A lot of people think I'm a short ass, right? They're like, oh, wow, Birchy's so big. Fucking head is like dinner plates and stuff. But it's rare that people are taller than me, right? How tall are you?
6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, well, the same sort of same height as me. But people, you're a good basketball player. And I've never played sport in my life. I don't watch it, don't play it, but it's just funny. You're basketball. This guy's fucking tall enough to be a basketball player.
It's funny because we'll go to the courts and practice, and I've got the grey hair, and Ethan, my son, he's like, Dad, put your hat on, don't show any grey hair.
Wow.
But I'm pretty good.
You gave me all the fucking grey hair.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It started going grey when you were born. So.
Yeah. Cool. So I guess I always have different questions. I've got different questions here for you. That's random one. What would be something that would have happened, like throughout your life, just random thing that could have changed your values or your thought or view of the world? Like, do you have a moment where you're like, fuck, I see the world differently? That could have been when you had a kid. Could have been when you realised something or be something.
I think I'm in my mid-40s now, and you go through different stages of life.
Yeah.
So I lived a single life up until I was 26, and then you find your partner, and you go through different ups and downs there, different phases there, and then the kids come along. So but I always look for the future and look to see what the next step is.
Okay.
And I think that's partly why my wife married me, because we're always looking for something new.
Okay, cool.
In the relationship, travel and whatever. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Do you have a favourite travel spot you've been to? Or
I love Whistler in Canada.
Whistler, I don't even know where it's at.
Ski.
Yeah. Okay,
ski. So you go there in winter, and Mediterranean's beautiful.
Okay,
it's quite nice. So.
Yeah, cool. I'm scared of aeroplanes, so I don't go anywhere, but these guys are like, wow, that'll be cool. Like, Mediterranean sounds fun, right? So maybe one day. That's cool.
But now, with the kids, you do more family holidays and cruises and stuff like that. So,
okay. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. And I guess it's good that now your kids are, getting jobs and stuff. They go off the balance sheet.
My daughter's driving now.
Watch out, everyone.
She's on learners. So.
There we go. How's that feel for you?
It's all right.
Yeah.
Started out in the car park, but yeah.
Okay. No, you didn't anywhere? No?
No, not yet.
Okay, good. Just keep it like that.
That's it.
Awesome. I guess just the last question, Wayne, for you today would be, what would a no BS sort of life mean to you? What does, when someone says no BS, like everyone's different with their thoughts on it. What does it mean for you?
Well, I've learned since coming here to be more direct, more straightforward, more decisive.
Okay. Yeah.
And because I've got life experience, I feel I've got life experience.
Yeah.
You can call people on
things,
on their things, so certain things. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Cool. And I guess just for the viewers, like you work here, you've been here for a couple of years. Like, what is your role? Like when someone, what do you do in the business? Like, how do you help people? What do you do?
So what we do is a team of 6 of us. So we assist clients in coming on board, explaining the process of buying.
So you're an investor relations manager.
Investor relationship.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
So
what does that mean?
So we assist clients in buying property.
Yeah.
We work as sort of like the third arm to you, and we're in contact with the clients when you can't be.
Yeah.
And walk them through the process of buying property and getting their strategy right. And, it's good.
So when people call up, people go, oh, well, how do I get started with B.Invested? Someone calls in the office, someone reaches out, they're like, what can I do? Do I have anything I can do? Like sometimes I'm assuming you'd have people that call up and they might look fucked. They may not be able, everyone's told them you can't do anything, or they might feel like they can't do anything. Do you have a story of maybe someone that's like come in, they feel hopeless and desperate and they've gone and got, 10 properties, 5 properties or whatever, or done something really big?
It's probably a few clients that have done that. Yeah, they'll come in, they might be on just average sort of income and either inherited money or
got equity,
got some equity or saved some money. Different. There's a few clients there that way. So.
Yeah, I think people might be listening and they're like, well, I'd love to get into property investing, or a wife and kids or whatever, and I've only got the house, all money goes into the mortgage, I wish I could pay that off, and they're the conversations I guess people have when they start with you.
Yeah, for sure.
May not even have it. How many people would come to you without any property, and like percentage wise, do you reckon? And
I'd say 50%.
50% no property?
No property. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And what's the average sort of portfolio in a year, do you reckon, of your client base? Do you reckon they
say 5 or 6?
5 or 6 in a year? Yeah. There we go, on average.
Yeah.
There we go.
What I've sort of come to realise is it's not about the property itself. Yes, as an owner, you're going to have tenant issues or certain things that you need to fix or down the track. But at the end of the day, it's about your numbers and what that property will do to get you to the next property.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at the numbers of the property, that property is going to help you get to the next property and the next property. So
equity, cash flow, lending, bank, keeping the bank happy. Rents, exactly. Topic of discussion at the moment. Rents. We push the rents up, we get more finance for people. So.
I contacted my property manager yesterday. Yeah. And I was just looking at market comparables in the area, and I realised mine was low. Mine was like $130 below what they're asking for now. Yeah. So next month they're going up $130. So
there we go.
It's $5,000.
Yeah. People. I was on a chat yesterday with someone, and they got a job promotion, and they're getting $20,000 extra. And then I laughed at the end of the call because I'd thought about what he said at the start of the call, because I was like, okay, what options do we have? How can we get the bank happy? He's with a second tier lender. We want to get into a first tier lender. I was like, okay, cool. You're getting 20 grand. He's going to his boss. Oh, please give me some more money, right? Like, that's just, 20 grand's a good increase. But like a lot of businesses that they're like, oh, well, you've been a good employee. We'll give you a 2% increase this year. It's like, great. Don't go spend your $1,000 all at once. Literally, this guy's going to get about 25 grand, 30 grand a year. I laughed as a funny thing at the end. I realised, I was like, let's put a bet on. Let's see if you get more money from your promotion, or if you got more money from the emails that you're about to send out on each of these properties to the tenants to increase your rent. And you think about it collectively, this guy's going to got a promotion of 20 grand. He's getting like 25, 30 grand from rent. So that's like another 50k a year. That opens up a lot for servicing, and people don't realise that. They're just little things to do with the portfolio.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Today, I've got a list of questions here that I've just looked at briefly as we got to catch up. First thing would be, a popular misconception on investing. Like, there's lots of them out there. People have opinions, people have thoughts, all these sorts of things. What would be people say, well, should I have them all geographically near my house, or should I have them spread out around the place, or should I buy all in one area? Like, is there some myths around that or misconceptions that you have?
I think one misconception is, and it's mainly learned or subconsciously built into your mind growing up, is that you need to. There's only one market in Australia.
And that's where you are.
Yeah. So I get a lot of clients that have bought in Sydney, but they haven't looked anywhere else.
Yeah.
A lot of clients from Melbourne own in Melbourne, but they don't own interstate because they can't travel to the property to see it.
Yeah. I guess like you've been into shares over the years as well a lot, and like people out there might be watching, they might be thinking, oh, I don't want to go interstate. And it's like, well, okay, when you treat it like a business, right, it's like that's just an asset to your business, right? If someone was to go buy shares in Woolworths, does that mean you'd go to 1,100 Woolworths stores and go check them all out and go, well, I'm not going to buy Woolworths shares because that one had graffiti on the backyard of them. That one's in a Hauser area. Or do you go there and go, well, the numbers stack up, it's effective, the management's in place, everything stacks up? I think it comes back to treating it like a business and having no emotion on it.
That's right.
And what about, so that's buying interstate, what about like people just wanting to buy all in the same area geographically? Like, they get excited because that one area, I want to buy in the Gold Coast. Like, Gold Coast was good 5 years ago, why do you want to buy there now? Oh, because the TV told me so. It's like, well, the risk is there. Like, let's go. Let's find the next Gold Coast.
Gold Coast is a great example because I've been speaking and communicating with existing clients that have 5-6 properties on the Gold Coast. To look at their equity position lately, and they don't own anywhere else. They just own on the Gold Coast.
This is where we were at that time.
It was just massive, and right now we're not there.
We're not there. We're not buying there, right? We're buying in other secret locations, which numbers stack up. And I guess we want to find the new Gold Coast, like with all the attributes. And I guess looking at what did the Gold Coast have 5-10 years ago. It had all the infrastructure in place for a boom to occur. But then when we look back for the 10 years prior, like I remember when I first started buying the Gold Coast, everyone used to be like, why would you buy in the Gold Coast? It's been negative for 10 years, right? The Gold Coast had a lot of volatility around the late 90s, early 2000s. People were like, oh, it won't go up and all these fears. And I was buying stuff that was like cheaper than what it was 10 years prior. And it was positive cash flow and all these things. And there was all these fears back then. But now it's like, well, it had all the right things for growth. And there's other capital cities, there's other geographical locations which are the same as where the Gold Coast was 5 years ago, and portfolios, like, we're trying to spread them out a bit more than just having everything in the Gold Coast. But even at the time we had 5 in the Gold Coast, 5 in Sydney type thing. But now, it might be 3 here, 3 there, 3 here. Spread them out.
So the Gold Coast, is that because just so much supply there at the time?
No. So the Gold Coast, like, markets aren't like linear, right? Like, everyone thinks, oh, well, houses are going up in Sydney, they must be going up in Gold Coast, the house must be going up in Perth, they must be going up in Cairns, wherever, must be going up in Melbourne. But the markets are counter-cyclical. So if we look at a boom and a bust cycle, in Sydney, the market boomed up until 2003, crashed between 2003 and 2007. And then in the GFC, interest rates came down, immigration all came to Sydney, all the immigration came to Sydney, Sydney blew up, and then we went through a boom in the GFC, right? But at the same time, when the market between 2003 and 2008-9, the Gold Coast and Brisbane was in a big boom. There was all these new construction happening and all that. The market in the GFC got crashed, and then all these building projects went bust, and infrastructure got left over. That caused a glut because the banks didn't give the same lending. Lending is what they had pre-GFC, and what eventuated from that is it put a bit of suppression in the market, and the prices got suppressed. And then just opinions from people, they're like, Gold Coast doesn't go up like Sydney did. Look at Sydney. It's like, no, you're just looking at 3 years or 5 years. You didn't look at the last 5 years that Sydney tanked, right? And so the markets are very counter-cyclical, and they're not linear. So I always thought the value was in the Gold Coast, and always said, going back 6-7 years ago, when the markets do take off, the first cab off the rank will be the Gold Coast and South East Queensland corridor. And I'm on the media, I'm on Channel 7 in a documentary talking about it in a helicopter over the top, saying that. And that's what happened. And there's still those markets aren't there anymore. It's like when I first started buying, the opportunity was in Mount Druitt and Western Sydney. I was buying houses for 150k, houses for 100 grand. They were burnt down, kicked in, whatever. Those things are $1 million now, right? And Western Sydney doesn't work like it used to. Gold Coast doesn't work like it used to. You've got to go to a different location to find the parameters. And that's what we do with our investors, the numbers in the portfolio. So
because I always see we'll have a client buy in a particular area, and then you'll present another property in the same region, and I thought, why has Nathan done that? But obviously the opportunity's still there. So.
Well, there's a couple of things with Sydney and say Gold Coast. Sydney was very good for equity, and the banks weren't lending for equity up there, but the cash flow in Sydney was shit, but the cash flow in the Gold Coast and Brisbane was great. So I tried to balance it with a good balance of growth and cash flow to keep the bank happy. So depending on where the investor's at and what they need in their portfolio, I'll only make the recommendations to the deals to keep them happy with the bank. Most people, when we look at it, if people are left to their own devices, they're like, I want a house over here, their thoughts or whatever. But us knowing through so many transactions of building these portfolios that it's important for the bank to be happy. So do we need equity? Do we need cash flow? Whatever. I want to make sure the property I'm buying is supporting what the bank needs to be able to give you more money. Because ultimately, you can have $1 million worth of one type of property or $3 million of another type of property. If they're both double tomorrow, would you want the 1 mil turning into 2 or 3 mil turning into 6 mil? And that's why I look at, what is the property going to be able to do? And how's it going to fit into the overall strategy? And that's why we make those recommendations based on what the client needs for their portfolio to keep them attractive to the banks and for their goals. That's sort of why I do that. So, I feel like it's turned around. I was asking you questions, you're asking me questions. So hopefully everyone likes it.
I don't see you too often, mate. So.
Because you keep booking in calls for me, Wayne. Keep booking in calls. I'm looking after all our clients. So. Literally, it's been 8 hours a day just on calls, and I start the emails, and I start we've been doing some really cool results for our community. So keep those calls coming for me, mate. So I guess, just covering off on that, when you're speaking to your clients and you're talking to them about, should you be buying 2 in this location or 3 in that location, we don't want to snooker them. We don't want them to be, blocked in where they can't make the next move. So if they buy the wrong move at property number 1 or 2, and it won't allow them to do number 3 and 4, quite often people say it has to be for cash flow. I'll take the 2 cash flow ones and I'll leave the equity one. It's like, no, we want a cash flow and an equity. Don't take those 2. Take this one and this one. Take either one of those 2 cash flow ones so they balance each other out. I think. What are some of the challenges you come across and the thoughts and the processes behind your clients that you help and guide them through like that?
Well, I guess it comes back to perception again. People's perception of the market. Types of properties that they want to buy.
Okay.
The type of finance that they have on the property. I've got a client that majority of their loans are all crossed before they came to us, and they have to uncross them. And
I spoke to one of your clients last night.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yes. I went to a Big Four bank. The Big Four bank says, let's cross them. And or didn't even say anything about that. The call before that, actually, I wish I had that call before the other one. If the calls were around the other way, he's got a local broker. He lives in Queensland, and he's got a local broker that's saying, and like a bank branch. I won't say the name of the bank, but it's a bank branch, and the bank branch is wanting to do like we'll just give you money if you need it. I'm like, no, they're going to tie your loans together and your feet together and your legs and your hands together, and then you're screwed. You can't move, and how does that hurt people?
Oh, it slows them down, and then people lose motivation.
Yeah.
And I find that with other clients too, they can service well and so forth. Just the buying process can be a drain on your mental health, I guess, sometimes. But dealing with banks, I've got a client at the moment, they're buying 6-7 properties, about 15 doors or something. But the bank is it's taking 2 months.
Oh, yes. I know that client, and that client wanted to do 20 deals in a month. And I said, I want you to stick at like 4, right? And he got really excited doing like 7 or something, 7 at once, and some of them are duplex stuff, and
So just now they've got equity release. So
okay, that came through today.
Came through today. So.
Okay, cool. Phew. Now you can be a bit more confident with these decisions of making that happen.
Yeah. So.
But if it was easy, right? Like everyone goes, oh well, it should just be easier. The perception of it. It's like your thought of it. Those like meme things that you see. Like there's like what my parents think I do, what I really do, what the school thinks I do, whatever. It's like, well, what people's perception of it is and what reality of it is. I see all these ads where they talk about cool cars and shit like that, right? And you got that guy that cranes his car into its Melbourne penthouse, right? And it's like people expect that to be wealth, right? And it's like that's not what wealth is. Like I don't see any wealthy families or any wealthy people that walking around taking Instagram photos with their fucking new car and their watch in front of their steering wheel, right? It doesn't happen like that. The perception of things and how people try and show it, like if it was so easy, everybody would be doing it, right? And I've never once said, buying a property portfolio and building wealth is easy. What I talk about is that it's possible, and it's relatively, if you have a plan and a strategy and you make the steps, it's like going to the gym and having a bloody personal trainer go, okay, this is what you need to do 3 reps. It's like, it fucking hurts, right? But you're going to get the gains, right? You want the gains, you have to, put in the activity. And I think getting the right mindset and where you come in and really help our investors, right? Like you just said, you've got a client that's going to do 7 properties at once, first 7 properties, doesn't own any investment properties yet, going to 7. And how many doors is there? Like how many keys?
It's like 15 or 16.
15. So 15 tenancies overnight.
Because a couple of properties we had to swap over and stuff like that. But
Say 15 properties, right? 15 properties at once, 0 to 15 in a day, right? Naturally, there's going to be an issue. Like there's going to be hurdles along the way. And I always say to people, like when you get from 0 to 10, let's have a chat again, because you'll be a different person. Like what you're thinking today will be very different. But if you don't take those actions, you're not going to be where you want to be. You don't have control of your life. Like I think the last few years have shown people you need to have control in your life. People don't have control in their life, and property gives them the ability to do that, and more options and choices and freedom. So
definitely. Well, even now for myself, you asked me sort of when your values changed. Well, I don't watch news anymore. I don't even listen to the news. I don't read news articles.
That's good.
So
we're treating Wayne by coming in every day.
But I was a bit like that beforehand because I used to promote, get rid of the negativity and just live your own life and your perception.
Look, I was still involved in media. I actually had lunch the other day with some media and that, and I've got a whole pile of content that's going out in channels, and I'm not really going to be the face of it. I'm just going to have other people go and do that stuff because I just don't want to be in the face of it. And like, I know how it works, right? Like it's like clickbait. It's what they want, the readers want to see, and what gets the activity, because then the advertisers buy off that because they can sell the advertising space. So like negativity sells. You don't see, there's a great story today. This old man saved a fucking dog.
You hear it at the end of the news.
Yeah.
You see the last article. Everything else is negative.
Yeah. Oh, Bell, watch out. The fucking energy saving light bulbs, green energy, hydrogen, fucking war in Ukraine. Get out of here.
Oh, God.
But cool. And I guess like we're talking about misconceptions as well, Wayne. Like there's difference between like you've got clients who've got 1 or 2 properties. You've seen people that can do 20 and they do 1 or 2 and they get fucked up real easy because their mindset or whatever. The people that have got 10 or 20, like this guy that's getting 7 and getting 15, like there's a difference in the mindset, right? There's a difference in the action, right? How so many people say, I want to do this, I want to do that, but their actions aren't in line with becoming the person they want to be. What would be maybe 3 misconceptions that people would have just about, building wealth in general?
I speak to people that come on board and they want to have they want to keep a buffer. They might have 100K.
Yeah.
And they can do like 2 or 3 properties with that 100K. And no, I want to keep like 20, 25, 30,000 for a rainy day. And it's like, well, you're putting your money into an asset rather than leaving the money in the bank and being welted away with inflation. And
the client you said last night that I spoke to with the cross loans, he goes, I just want to make sure I want to have more cash in the bank. I'm like, well, you have more cash in the bank. Imagine you just had cash and had no property. And it's like, oh, no, I want the property as well, right? And it's like, well, they're the choices. And, I think what I love seeing is someone that comes in with one mindset shift of the thing and then they shift to become the person they need to be. And like we asked, like, was there a moment when you changed and something happened, like people becoming a parent, they need to change, right? And I think as an investor, you can't just people, I'm sure there'll be someone down at the local pub going, I got to find the wife for my kids tonight, fucking 3 o'clock in the morning, fucking, right? That's not, then the next day they'll be like, I just can't find any good blokes out there, right? It's like, no, you're being a hoe, right? Whatever it is, right? You need to change, like, you need to act as the person that you want to become, I guess. So that was a pretty funny analogy. Any other sort of misconceptions that you think would hold people back, self-limiting beliefs or...
Maybe just the interest rates.
Okay.
Holding people back.
Yeah.
And yes, we have clients that, get into 9, 10 properties in 12 months, 18 months. And in the last 12 months, it's sort of squeezed them tight a bit. And this is where, topic of conversation at the moment is the rent.
Yeah. Most people will be like, interest rates gone up, better sell, right? And it's like, well, that's an option, right? But what's the ramifications of that choice that you make today, and where's it going to lead you? Is that positive or negative compared? What other options are there? And I think it's good that we're having these portfolio reviews with the investors and looking at, okay, well, like there's been so many of them where they're like, it's a bit tight at the moment. Like, don't worry about it, we'll be right. What else is going on, right? We have a chat, like, right, let's go through your properties, bang, bang, bang. They're like, shit, I never realised I could get an extra $600. I never realised I get an extra $1,000. And it's like, well, if you didn't have the higher interest rates, you wouldn't have had the opportunity to get those higher rents.
Yeah.
But when the interest rates come down, it doesn't mean the rents go up. It's that those properties look like a better investment, and then the prices go up and bridge that gap of the yield.
Yeah.
So it's all in the right timing. But people will always have fear. People had fear that the prices are going up. People had fear that interest rates go up. People had fear that the news said that we're in a recession. People had the fear that we had I don't even like what happened the last few years, but I can't even say that, right? There's always a fear. There's always a reason not to, but there's always an opportunity.
It's people's belief system too.
Yeah.
Limiting beliefs can just change. Hold you back.
Yeah.
I'm a renter myself.
Yeah.
And my landlord hasn't put rent. I've been in this place for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And we signed a 6-month lease, and we're still here. And he hasn't approached us for rental increases. And I think he's not treating it as a business.
Yeah,
I know he's got a couple of duplexes and so forth, but he's comfortable. I think he's just comfortable. I'm thinking we're waiting for a rent increase. You've had 3-4 interest rate rises in the last 6 months. Yeah, it's like, what's going on? And it's like, well, we're keeping shut. But I'm willing to pay more. Yeah. If it comes to that, but but as a landlord, I want to get the most out of my investment. So.
I think that's where the arbitrage there in between, right? Like you can rent where you want to live and then invest where the numbers really stack up. And I see it so often. Now when I drive in the office all the time, I drive past all these housing estates, right? And like I'm on the farm, and
I live in one of them.
yeah, you're in one of them, right? Yeah. And I see all these people like where you live is more expensive. It's like a couple of $1 million, a few $1 million. The ones which are closer, like they're like $1.5 million with a house with no eaves, 300 square block. And I sit down and think to myself, like, if someone's here in a house for $1.5 million, they've got a $1 million loan, whatever, it could be 1.2, could be 800, let's call it $1 million. You could rent that place for, I don't know, $700, $800 a week for something like that. But you could buy it for $1.5 million. You got a $1 million loan. The $1 million loan at 6% is now $60,000 a year. That's $1,200 a week just to live there. Mm-hmm. So it's an extra $500 a week negative just to pay for the interest to stay there instead of the rent. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have two incomes supplying it, well then you're going to get kicked out or you're going to lose the house. So I think for the same $1 million, I'd rather have 5 properties at $200,000, which give me 5 sets of tenants at $200,000 at $300 a week, which give me $1,500 a week in income. Yeah. If one of those tenants don't pay, I've still got 4 of them, and I think it's just flipping the whole idea. Yeah. Really.
I've had my own principal place before.
Yeah.
And what I've come to realise now, renting. Yeah. And we did that by choice.
Yeah.
Is you don't have to worry about the upkeep.
Yeah.
Oh, you do the upkeep, because you get a bit of pride where you live, but you don't have those extra bills coming in.
No bathroom renos, no.
Yeah, you don't have to do all that.
If you start looking a bit shit, we'll just get a new one.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so we'll move house or whatever. But it's different psychology, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's where it's the commitment to it. Like I bought my first principal place residence when I was at. Most people think you must get the principal place residence first, but I bought my first principal place when I had like 120, 130 properties. And looking at that, like I remember pulling out a newspaper and I was like, wow, this is pretty funny. And I put up my rent, so it cost me $1.2 million for the house, a mortgage of like $952,000 and about 8% interest rate. And I was like, shit, how am I going to pay for this thing? Like I thought about it after I bought it. And I was like, I'll just put up some rents. I put my rents, and my tenants paid for to live there. Live in a mad house. Yeah. So I guess, we're going on for a lot. Is there any other sort of tips or things that you could suggest to people that are viewing that may help them on their journey, or may get them started, or may help them overcome?
Always look to improve your position.
Yeah.
Don't sit idle.
Okay.
Even if it means like now, going out and getting a second job.
Yeah.
Look for that next income.
So you can do a second job. You can push up those rents if you've already got the properties. Like, cool. Yeah, awesome, mate. Like I remember when I first started investing about the second jobs and that. I wanted to get $100,000 a year income, and I could only get like $60,000 income. So I went and got a second job, and I hustled, and I was like, I'll fucking commit the next 10 years of my life with two jobs, whatever I have to do, just to get ahead. And I realised that I was keeping that second income and investing it. So I had 1 year's worth of expenses, but they were low expenses because I was young. And I was able to push it all into asset. And the more that you can push in, imagine what's going to happen in 5 years' time when inflation goes even further. Imagine what's going to happen with these asset prices. And the more you can do today, the more you can harvest for in the future. And
get rid of debt you don't need.
Yeah.
Credit cards.
Yeah.
Vehicle finance, stuff like that. So
yeah.
But also, if you can service for both, then get the property and get the income from that property to pay that. So
exactly. Yeah. Good advice, Wayne. I appreciate that. So, Wayne, lots of people get a lot of great value because I know that when you're talking to them, you look at all the opportunities with their position and look at all the different ways of what they can do. They may, it's always good having a second set of eyes overlooking things, right? And when you speak to people, it's like, hey, what about doing this? How about you go and speak to this person on the team? They may be able to tweak something, may be able to fix your servicing, may be able to, do something with self-managed super fund, whatever it may be. If someone wants to reach out to you and get in contact, what's the best way of doing that, mate?
They can click on the link below.
Yeah.
Book in a chat with me.
Okay, cool.
And
that'll take you straight to my
calendar.
Yep.
And we'll give them a call and nut out a position and where they're at and give them some sort of guidance on what the next step is.
Beautiful, Wayne. I appreciate that. Keep up the good work. You've got so many clients that have got like so many cool stories and cool results, and Just thinking back to our Christmas party as well, like when all these people got up on the stage, right, there's some that have got like 20 properties in a year, and some that just bought their first property, some people with like a small income with like 50k, and they've been able to get like a half dozen properties. Really, really cool. And yeah, appreciate that, Wayne. So keep it up. Keep up the work. If you like this, remember to give us a like, share it with your friends and family, tag everyone below, and you can listen to us on Google Play, Apple Play, Spotify, and YouTube. We'll catch up soon. Have a great week. Bye for now.
Like Bilal said, man, we're stuck in the matrix. This my advice, don't care if you take it. The dollar about to die, soon to be hyperinflated. This my 2 cents, don't care if you save it. Joint be decentralized and you will see you been lied to the whole time, and it's the irony, cause they do the exact opposite. You become a slave to the system, enough your money, all they do is profit. There's no conspiracy theory, you better hear me. Crypto will set you free before the system does. I don't care if you do or you don't, but what I'm saying is the truth to the reason you choke. I've never been a failure, excuse my behavior. Keep talking, haters doing me a favor. They all telling lies, I know what they been telling you. I'm the opposite, the Donald Trump of Australia. It's amazing, here for the taking. My time is never wasted, just getting wasted. These girls say I'm really breathtaking. I can't help it if I really misbehaving.